All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We are either back on the air or we are hitting the airwaves for the first time. If you're hearing this is the @RealGabeAnders show. So give us a follow on Twitter @RealGabeAnders. And I am here, your host, of course, Gabriel Anders, with my good friend Richie Vegas. Back in the saddle, Richie. How you feeling? Most definitely, and you've had a lot going on. We both had a lot going on over this sort of, I guess we could call it an extended holiday break, right?
I mean, 4 months for me at least. It's been a while.
It's a long holiday. It was a long holiday, is what it was.
Working holiday.
Yes,
holiday.
That is the perfect way to refer to it. But yeah, so we have bunch going on. That we're going to go ahead and touch on. So let's jump right into it. Let's, without further ado, so bunch of news. Richie, as I was telling you off air before we jumped on, I watched some basketball today. I watched a full game of basketball, which is highly unlike me to do there. And based off of, I got my free trial of Game Pass.
First time in the
the history of you knowing me that you've probably ever heard me say those words, right?
That is the first time I've heard you even mention basketball, other than talking briefly about basketball history when mentioning some type of reference that went over my head.
Right, yeah, like Muggsy Bogues, or like, oh yeah, I remember when Michael Jordan wore number 45 for that year, and you're just like, I wasn't born yet, bro. Like, that's the.
I didn't even know he had a different number. Ever.
Oh yeah. So that'll be some fun. We'll when we walk down our basketball. See, that'll be a good way. We're talking about incorporating basketball as I'm relearning the sport, right? Like, you can sort of let me know what people these days are doing, what the kids are doing on the courts, and I can let you know, like, oh, I remember when I remember when Seattle had a team, like that good old stuff. Or the Supersonics are not a team anymore, right? Or they are a team and they've moved.
They're the Thunder.
Away.
They're the Thunder.
They're the Thunder, and are they still in OKC, or are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in OKC still.
Okay, there you go. I had a friend who was actually an Oklahoma Thunder fan, but he was from San Diego, so that's why that sticks out. Other than that, like, I don't know, didn't the Hornets like move back or go to New Orleans and become the Pelicans? Huh?
Yeah, they left, became the Pelicans, and then there was a new team, completely new team.
Yeah, see, Muggsy Bogues would be rolling over in his grave, and I hope I didn't just murder Muggsy Bogues. And hope that didn't just happen. But yeah, no, one of those days I'll let you know what it was like to watch Grant Hill when he wasn't, running up and down the court with a walker. Because I think you still did see some Grant Hill, if I'm not mistaken, because he played like 100 years, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
like he just retired last week. I thought is what I thought I heard, but. Yeah. When he was a young spree rookie, I'll tell you about the days of Matt Maloney.
You did just murder Muggsy Bogues, by the way. He's still alive.
Sorry, Muggsy. I apologize. I had a lot of fun times watching you as a kid. You were a hero to all of us. I'm going to start off with another phrase. So here's a phrase right here that I learned over our holiday break. He was an inspiration to all of us short kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that? I learned a phrase over, and like I'm pretty sure it's a derogatory phrase, right? But I'm embracing it.
King is not a derogatory. You adding king to anything, so you say you're a short king because you're less than 5'5". That's a short king.
Most days I'm above.
King, you could add. Most days you're above. Just depends on what side of the bed you fall out of.
That's really it. Yeah.
It's you could add king as a connotation to anything.
Okay, so it's not derogatory.
No, it's not derogatory at all.
See, I've been reveling. I refer to myself as a short king at least once a day. I've made it a point subconsciously, and it's sort of stuck.
It's you taking something it's you taking back that power. It's like someone would be like, yeah, you're short. You're like, yeah, damn right, I'm a short king. That's you taking back that power.
It's like Clerks 2. We're bringing it back. We're taking it back. We're taking it back.
Exactly.
Okay. I won't refer to the original reference, but if you know, you know. See, another one I learned. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yep,
If
that's
you know,
another
you
one.
know.
If you know,
Yeah.
you know.
We're taking it back. So something else being taken back, ownership stake in Denver. Have you heard this?
Oh,
That they're looking at they're looking at selling. How long have they even had that team? Forever, right? Like
forever, since before I was born, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
pretty
a long
sure.
Time.
Yeah, because I know my dad's never discussed like their ownership policies outside of Elway being in the front office, but like he's, I know he grew up out in Arizona before, back when the Cardinals were still in St. Louis.
Hmm.
So like he, his choices were like many Arizonans back in the, 70s. He could choose the Cowboys, the Orange Crush, or, I don't know. I don't even think they're choosing the Chargers like they are now.
Speaking of St. Louis, have you heard those? We can come back to this and talk to this later. Have you heard the rumors about them getting an actual expansion team?
Well, we when we were doing Kings, JP and the crew, they had beat writer out there who was basically saying like those have been the talks for years. And I think I know a very specific reason that you're bringing it up that would be close and dear to my heart, right?
Yeah.
With the rumors on it. So yeah, we'll discuss. Yes, I have heard about that. So yeah, pencil it in. We'll bring that up in a little bit. But yeah, the Peyton Manning potentially, is that why you were groaning? Because when I mentioned Denver selling,
it's dumb.
You think it's dumb? You think so?
It's stupid.
How come? Why are you not a fan of Peyton and the boys, or Peyton bringing his crew and leadership skills up there?
Okay, first of all, I think if Peyton Manning is going to do anything in the arena of football again, shouldn't be in ownership. The man doesn't have business sense. Have you seen some of the things he's invested in and some of the things that?
Okay, that's fair because I haven't. I was going to say, I'm like, he definitely does acquire some, as far as like he's making money in the industry.
He is, but the thing is, it's with his football knowledge, and his football knowledge isn't going to mean much as an owner. If anything, he'd be a really good head coach or a really good GM. Or a position coach, or like an offensive coach, offensive coordinator. He could come in and turn that offense around, but I don't think he has what it takes to be an owner. He doesn't have that what I would say killer instinct. His killer instinct is different compared to somebody with the business mindset killer instinct. You know what I mean?
I can definitely understand
like
that.
Somebody I could see coming in and being an owner after retiring of any team that he wants would be Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has that cold businessman like mentality.
Right. He's a madman on the field, on the sidelines, and just in general. He can hit that gear is what you're saying, right? He can hit that next level gear.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I doubt I don't know. I don't know. Tom Brady might just, he might play as long as Belichick coaches. Like, and not saying
just
like
out of spite.
Right. Well, I mean more so like 10-year white. So not like not like an FU Belichick. Like, okay, now that he's done, now that the old man's done, I did one more year, and and that's that. Not a Jared move. Like that'd be a very Jared move. But no, I mean like how because isn't Belichick, is he approaching 70 or 80 right now?
Belichick, I think he's already 70. Hang on.
Yeah,
I'm already on Google because I looked up Muggsy.
Perfect. I appreciate it. And yeah, I want to say he's approaching 80, but I know like
no, he's approaching 70. He's only 69.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I know he's been coaching for 124 years, so I don't know how that works out, but it somehow it does. He's been
coaching since 97. That can't be right.
No, that's maybe head coach since 97.
No, hang on.
Because I know he was an assistant in that. I want to know.
He was an assistant on the Jets. He's been coaching since 79 as a positions coach. He was a defensive assistant and special teams coach. Okay. And then he worked to the Ravens Browns, not New Browns.
Right.
And
because he worked with Schottenheimer, I think.
He was the head coach. He was the head coach of the Browns.
Who, Schotty?
No, Belichick.
Oh, Belichick. Oh, okay.
From 91 so maybe they didn't 95, cross paths. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
I never realized that. Okay, that would have been.
He went 36-44 and got them to the playoffs in 94.
That would mean that Oh wow, I didn't see 94 is a very special year to me because that's the only time the Chargers ever made it in there. But
Yeah,
I didn't.
94
So
is a
he
special year to me because
replaced.
that's when I was born.
Oh, there you go. So oh wait a minute. Okay, that's right. And you were born in what month again?
April.
April. You in your lifetime, the Chargers have never set foot in a Super Bowl. Oh man, that just blew my mind right. That talk about a derailment. Holy moly.
Oh my God, that's funny.
In your time on this earth, out of utero, the San Diego / Los Angeles Chargers have never even sniffed the Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh man, they're as good as the Lions to you. Like they're as good as the Lions. They're the Browns.
Phillip Rivers just got a cold chill down his spine.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, and then he's gonna realize one of his 18 kids just no, he doesn't have that many. I think he's only
No, but then Belichick joined the Patriots in '96, left, went to the Jets for 3 years, and then came back to the Patriots in 2000.
Okay, and you don't have to look this up, but I'm gonna stroke my own ego, and my psychotic football memory is so that means that if he coached the Browns, that means that he would have replaced Shoddy. They didn't he might have been an assistant on his staff, but or no, if he said he was in the Jets, so he replaced Schottenheimer because Schottenheimer was before he was on the Chiefs. He was on the Browns in the late 80s. And that means that he replaced Bill Parcells, I believe, in New England.
Yeah.
Because what year did he say he took over in New England?
He took over New England. He had 2 tenures. So he was there in 96, left, came back in 2000.
He wasn't there as head coach in 96, was he?
No, he was assistant head coach.
Okay. That sounds right. Yeah, because I was going to say, no, I'm pretty sure that Bledsoe team that went to the Super Bowl against the Packers was a Parcells-led team, which is why it sticks out so much. Yeah.
Yeah, he was under Parcells.
Okay. Well, there you go. For anybody who wanted a recollection of, at the time, pretty good to mediocre AFC teams from the late 80s to mid to late 90s, there you go. So the I don't know, Shoddy and we didn't really mention the Chiefs, but Shoddy and the Chiefs were almost as mean as I want to say. Why do you keep thinking Andy Reid's the coach of the Chiefs right now, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And he's still like the Eagles guy to me. This is again,
no,
right?
I loved Andy Reid growing up because I loved the Eagles.
Oh, see, I hate the Eagles. I don't know why.
Them before the Texans, because before the Texans were a team, I just liked the color. Because I was like 6, 7 years old.
Right. Well, same reason I liked the Cubs and the Mariners when I was growing up. I love the colors.
So I like the colors, and then I got an actual team to care about.
Right. So isn't it funny the evolution of a sports mind? Like when you're little, it's like, oh, the primary colors are soothing. Like this is really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you learn to attach significance, and you're like, you know what? I like Houston teams, so I'm going to root for this. I'm going to root for this. Like we were talking about this Derek Carr fella who's going to be the next Montana. They say.
Yeah. No, Derek. Or
Some
David?
said that.
I'm twisted again. Hang on.
Some said that. Derek. See, okay, now you have me doubting myself. I was confident.
I'm checking.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Derek Carr.
David. It's David. David was the one. David was the one we had. Derek is Raiders.
Oh, Derek's right now. Okay.
Derek
well, there you
Raiders.
Go. You're going to hear me. This is going to be the one time we say it possibly in the show's entire run. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. Until he leaves Las Vegas, you will never hear me compliment him. I just want to get it out of the way on record.
Timestamp that. Somebody timestamp that.
This is the
only time you're ever going to hear him say that.
There's about twice a year.
Out of Vegas.
About 2 times. Well, it's funny because when we were talking before we jumped on air, I called him Oakland. I always call him Oakland. Yeah. Even though when I grew up, they were in LA, but then they moved back to Oakland in 95. So like I just always think of them as Oakland because when they were in LA, I knew they weren't really an LA team. Me being the native San Diegan who's just salty at anything 2 hours north of where I grew up from. So like,
see, and for me, it's still weird calling them Vegas. I'm so used to being born and raised in Vegas. I'm so used to there being no sports teams except for the Knights, and even then, the Knights took time to adjust to. I still haven't adjusted to the Raiders being the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, see, and I don't know, is this their second year or first year? Second year, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's still weird. Have you seen the stadium? I've only seen it under construction.
I was out there for Christmas. And we went to an event at the stadium, and it's
really? Really you actually went to an event there? Okay, how was it in there?
Inside, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
I went to SummerSlam. I went to SummerSlam too.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay, I don't think I knew that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that.
it was really, really, really well done for the way they did SummerSlam there. It's the stadium itself is perfect. I'm waiting for them to do a Mania there, and Super Bowl is going to be there in 2 years.
2 years, right? Yeah, that's right.
24.
Because it's LA this year, Phoenix next year, or Glendale, and then Vegas, right?
24, yeah.
Okay.
God, I am not looking forward to the Super Bowl being out here. That's going to be chaos.
See, that's one of the.
You don't live up in Glendale, so you won't have to deal with it. I live like 15 minutes from the stadium.
Oh, that's going to be madness. That's going to be insane. Don't even leave your house. Can you work from home? Work from home.
I live Highway Act, so I live by the Arrowhead area now.
Oh, don't go on the 101.
No,
don't do that.
And that's my primary way to get around.
Oh yeah, no. What you should do, and you got to book it now because they're going to start filling up. Book a hotel by your work. Just book a hotel by anywhere you have to go.
That's like, and I work in South Phoenix now, so
okay. You'll kind of be going against the grain because when I was in South Phoenix, when the Super Bowl was there, gosh, you would have been 8 years old at that point. When the Patriots and okay,
no, there was one out here recently. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Patriots and the
Seahawks.
Falcons, right?
No, Patriots Seahawks.
Patriots Seahawks was out here.
That was
okay,
2012.
Had to be a little more recent than that. I think it was a little more recent than that, but maybe, yeah, that might actually that time frame.
2014. Hang on, I'm gonna check. It might be 2014. Okay. Seattle Seahawks won that one. That was in New Jersey, so it was 2015.
Yeah, it was the Falcons one where they had the bonehead move because I remember watching that one.
No,
where they passed instead of running.
Patriots. It was the Patriots and it was the Seahawks, and it was the Seahawks because Russell Wilson tried to throw it off instead of hand it to Marshawn Lynch. If he would have just handed it off to Marshawn Lynch, he would have ran it in. It was like not even a 6-yard play.
Am I replacing the Falcons and the Seahawks right now? Like, am I actually confusing the foul teams?
You the foul teams. You absolutely are. It was
okay
because the Seahawks went back-to-back years to the Super Bowl. They just lost to the second one.
Was that okay? Was that the year and the year before that they demolished Denver, right?
Yeah, that was the year before that. Peyton Manning decided to stay in bed.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he took that one bad snap and he was like, I'm not doing this.
Which is why he should not be an owner.
Well, there you go.
Have that killer instinct.
Good job closing up that loop end there. And now, it's funny. So next item I was going to bring up is the somebody I could see being an owner if he ever chose to go that route, but why not? Why not just stay a head coach forever? Tomlin avoided his losing season for 15 seasons in a row.
Congrats to Mike Tomlin. We'll give him the big ups for that. If any man can work with AB for 6 seasons, 7 seasons, he deserves some type of award.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I remember that because I forget he was a Steeler. We have that on here
Antonio
too.
Brown was a Steeler for the majority of his career.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Well, because, wayward sons tend to not, land anywhere, apparently, even when they want him to. He was there. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah,
there was an update to that today.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I want to hear that. But so speaking of shoddy though, so Tomlin by doing that broke Schottenheimer's streak from 84 to 97. Again, as I was nerding out his 10 years with the Browns and the Chiefs, Tomlin able to do it all with the Steelers. So I hold grudges personally against the Steelers and Tomlin's Steelers, but Tomlin's a hell of a coach, man. I love watching every team that he has out there.
I would say top 5 all time, in my opinion.
I could see that. I
can name at least 4 that are better than him, but I couldn't think of a 5th.
Okay. But yeah, he's just ultimate badass. I mean, I'm older, so I might have a few other names on the list that you're probably not aware of, like Tom Flores might pop up on there.
I know who Tom Flores is.
Okay, there you go. So
coached a bit into my.
See, okay, again, right? Like we'll come back with in just a break, in just a second. We're going to take a quick break, but see how old I am. I still think that the Seahawks are a terrible team. I still think that. Well, I mean, they are.
I mean, you're not wrong. They are a terrible team now.
They are, but like a terrible franchise. Like how most people look at the Lions right now. That's how I see the Seahawks mentally, because I still think it's 1991. Oh yeah, dude, 2-14 every year fighting the Chargers for the bottom of the division. But nonetheless, when we come back, we're going to talk Washington football team, a whole bunch of stuff, new names, more Tomlin, and we'll talk about those AB updates. Yeah. Let's do it when we come back on the @Real Gabe Andrews Show. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, the AWF is back January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona as we present High Stakes. Watch the AWF stars risk it all in the ring. Bet on an action-packed family fun night of entertainment. And come roll the dice with us January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona at the new AWF Arena. Tickets are on sale now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com, and please support our sponsors. Alrighty, welcome back in. This is the at Real Gabe Anders show. You're with myself, Gabriel Anders, and my co-host, Richie Vegas. So I've been having like an internal, not really, I won't say a conflict, it's not that strong, but like, where do you fall on, if I refer to you as co-host or co-host? Like, what would you...
Combine both words. You just found a way to combine both words.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much, I just merged them.
I
there you go. So, alrighty, so Washington football team announcing, have you heard, Richie? They're announcing new name, logos, uniforms. I was excited because I heard, I don't know if it was Rivera or if it was somebody else on the team making the announcement earlier last week. And then they put a date to it. So February 2nd, we don't have to wait anymore. I guess they just, and it's funny because they announced it on Sunday after they're like, they realized like, oh, we're now statistically not going to the playoffs. So here's something for our fans to live for, I guess, right? Like we're going to announce our new stuff.
Washington football team fans need something to live for. And after they learn the name of their team, what are they going to have? They're just all going to either drop dead or just brew in their spite because they have a name, but no championship chance.
Oh, that's rough. Well, I mean, so here's the way I kind of have like the Rick James mentality on the Washington franchise, right? Like I feel bad. So, you might not know this about me. I'm a closet Washington fan. Like I watch, like I have Game Pass. I was telling you, I watch all the games, right? Like one of the teams that I pay attention to that aren't the Chargers are Washington. So like I'll watch Washington games as miserable as they are. I'm a big fan. He really won me over this year of Heineke. And Heineke's
good. Heineke is not a bad quarterback.
You know what? And I'm going to go, and obviously the franchise, I think the franchise was Cousins on Washington?
Yeah, at some point.
A little bit ago? Okay, yeah, because I know. I
believe so.
I know they have Fitzpatrick. I was emotionally affected when Fitzpatrick went down. I'm also kind of a Ryan Fitzpatrick fan for some reason.
I love Fitzmagic, man. I love Fitzpatrick, dude.
But like
being in Houston,
he reminds me of Doug Flutie in San Diego and Buffalo. You might not want him taking every snap, but if you have like a blossoming quarterback, you want him on that sideline.
He's a good veteran. He's a journeyman. He is the picture definition of a veteran journeyman.
He is the Jeff Garcia of your generation's time, Richie. You don't know who that is, do you?
I don't know who Jeff Garcia is, but I agree with you.
There you go. And he's better, and he's better than Jeff Garcia too. He is a great UFL football player. Do you remember the UFL from 2009? He played. I want to say
the UFL. I had an old UFL jersey. I don't even remember what team it was for.
Really? Okay.
I had an old, yeah. When I was a kid, my dad used to get me all these random jerseys when he'd travel places because he traveled a lot for business. And he brought me back a UFL jersey once.
See, you know what? It might be a Jeff Garcia jersey. Now you know if it says Garcia in the back, and you're always like, "Who is this? What? Who is this Jeff Garcia guy on the Toledo, Alver Stars or something?" I don't know what but yeah, we gotta swap. We gotta swap old defunct football leagues memorabilia stories one time because I have, and we'll just sidebar real quick. I have an original XFL football. From the initial launch back in the late 90s or 2000s, 2001 or whenever it was. I have an original XFL memorabilia. What's that?
I got you beat on XFL memorabilia.
Ooh, I'm excited. Let's do this now. What do you got?
I have a Outlaws jersey.
Ooh, oh, that's right, because you're from Vegas.
With a piece of the only season ever with a piece of the turf. So it's a piece of the turf an Outlaws jersey, and it's a postcard, like a not a postcard, but a print of Sam Boyd Stadium, and
Okay.
it's has the placard on the bottom of it that says Las Vegas Outlaws inaugural season XFL. It was my dad's because he got it from his work because like he wanted this and then like a raffle or something. But it has an authenticated, and it's got the authenticated the paper, the certificate of authenticity.
Right.
That is a legitimate piece of the turf they used on Sam Boyd Stadium for that season.
That is awesome. Yes, you have me beat. You have won the XFL contest. I have the generic Walmart from Northern Nevada. So see, okay, so the Outlaws were my team too. I was living in Fallon at the time, though. I was living an hour outside of Reno. So it made sense to me. I'm like, okay, well, if I have to pick a team, I'm not picking the LA Express as much as I love Tommy Maddox. Oh, there you go. There's a good journeyman.
Tommy Maddox.
Tommy Maddox, yeah. So, and he played in all sorts of different leagues. But yeah, you have me beat. Dude, that is awesome. I got to see that sometime.
Yeah,
I definitely want to see that.
It's hanging up in my office.
Dude, fantastic.
Little piece of home.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I was a big Outlaws fan. Loved it. Just their uniforms were slick, but
I was upset when they did the reboot and they didn't bring the Outlaws back. But they were trying to go to cities that had small football market, or that they can make their own football market in. And the Raiders coming into town, they didn't want to bring two football teams in at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that was sort of the initial thought too with that, because I remember that's sort of where I learned how that all works. Just sort of by breaking it down and working backwards, just watching what they were doing. I liked it. I liked the plan, but who knows? I don't know. There's tons of rest.
Killed it, and it sucks because I loved the XFL reboot. It was fun to watch. The Hot Shots were cool. I liked the Arizona Hot Shots. That's who I was following. They were cool, man.
There was an Arizona XFL team?
There was in the reboot. They were the Arizona Hot Shots. They played they played at Sun Devil Stadium.
That's right. That does sound vaguely familiar. I don't know how that passed my radar. Dude, I'm all about I don't know if they're still doing it. I haven't looked into it, but they're talking about bringing back the USFL over the summer. I'm all about just alternative leagues. They're also bringing
back the XFL too.
They are under The Rock and his media company, right?
The XFL back again.
Right. Huh?
Yeah, The Rock and his media company. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know he bought it for probably like $15. No, I think that's the name of his company, isn't it? Like $7 Entertainment or whatever. But yeah, no, it's I know whatever.
They own the XFL, and he's been talking a lot about bringing it back.
Yeah, well, and I know that was I heard that was the plan, and they're gonna try to make it as legitimate as possible. When that's the one thing that I think the reboot had over the original was they did try to make it legitimate. It totally was, because I watched some games. They
was sports entertainment.
Yes. Oh, and it was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was fun.
Sports entertainment. It was, but it wasn't football.
Correct.
It wasn't like a football. It wasn't like it was WWE. At the time, you could even say WWF because it was that Attitude Era style presentation in a football league. And it works with some of the personalities they had, but at the same time, that wrestling presentation doesn't always work for football. And that they learned their lesson with the reboot, because the reboot was good. It was good football. It was fun to watch football.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know, man. I've always been an XFL defender, because as much as it wasn't a legitimate type of, it
was entertaining.
It was entertaining, and it was. Maybe I was at the right age for it, because I was
crazy for it as a kid.
Yeah, and we were playing backyard football, right? So that's what it reminded me of. Is it wasn't as formal as the NFL.
I have a homework assignment for you.
Okay, what's that?
And we'll come back and talk about it next episode.
Okay.
Go back and watch that championship game.
Oh, the Demons and the Express?
Yes.
The $25,000 game or $2 million game or whatever? Yeah, dude, I have it on my computer. I watch it once a year.
Okay, because I watched it recently, in the last 6 months, and it's a clusterfuck, man.
It is. It is.
You go back and you watch it. It's compare that to the Super Bowl of the same year, and it's totally different.
Yeah, was that the Patriots and was that Brady's first?
That was Brady's first. Yeah.
That was Brady's first. Okay, yeah, it was. See, I don't know. That's we'll get into that when we'll have to do a deep dive on the XFL, because I was a fan of the cluster. So
as a kid, I was a fan of it. Now I look back at it and laugh at it because you could still get enjoyment value out of it. It's like watching a cult classic movie to me. But when I was a kid, I thought it was like serious. Like I liked it more than the NFL, but I was like 6, 7 years old.
Well, see, and this will be the last point I make on it, because I definitely we have to do a deep dive on this now, dude. What drew me in about the XFL was all of the draft busts from the mid 90s, and I say that with all due respect to them. Were like like I said, like Tommy Maddox was in there. Jim Druckenmiller, I think, played for San Fran. You had Rashaan Salam. Like I loved all these guys that I had their like 94, 95, 96 year rookie cards and stuff. So like I knew all the players walking in. So like it would be a little bit different, sort of like you watch an indie show, right? You're like, who are all these guys? When you walk into WWE, you know everybody. But AEW had success because if you know all these old WWE guys who are over here now, like you find that enjoyment. It's like, oh, that's where Rusev went. Oh, awesome. I've missed Moxley. Like that's kind of how I was with that first XFL. So again, last statement I'll make on it: Rashaan Salam, Memphis Maniacs. Enough said. We're going to do a deep dive on this. We have to now.
We got it.
The New York, New Jersey Hitmen, a team, a hyphenated slashed team. Oh man, I love that league. I loved everything about it. The Orlando Rage, dude. I make the Orlando Rage as a custom team in almost every version of Madden that I get.
Really?
Yes, because I can't remember what the guy's name is. I'll look it up. We'll have it for the deep dive. But oh, dude, the Orlando Rage. I thought they were going to take it all, but they didn't. They were like undefeated. But nonetheless, I digress. So talking of defeats, one team, I guess sort of the flip side of it, right? Like this Sunday flexed to the Sunday night game because of drama and obviously I'm talking about my Chargers, right? I didn't know that the world is so tuned into the Chargers this year.
Because you guys have a quarterback that everybody's watching.
I have been so bold, and I know we made the joke with Derek Carr earlier. I don't think quite anyone named him the next Montana back in the day, but I know he was a high draft pick because I had his rookie card. I've gone on record. It's on my Twitter. I haven't deleted it. You can check it. It is back there, and it will remain there. Justin Herbert. I'm going to say it on there too. Justin Herbert, next Joe Montana.
Okay, calm down.
Next Joe Montana. Once he learns how to manage a game, he is the next Joe Montana.
Jesus.
You heard it here first. I've been saying it all year.
That hill? Do you really die on that hill?
I die on that hill 100%. Once that kid matures and because you can't figure him out.
He's the next Montana when he's in the same leagues as Patrick Mahomes.
Everyone's figuring out Mahomes. Everyone is figuring out Mahomes. Mahomes,
and yet he's still finding a way to win.
He's still finding a way to win, but he didn't earlier in the year. He didn't earlier in the year, though.
Right, but that's the mark that I think makes him more Montana-esque. Is he may have lost a lot more during the year, but flexed to later in the year, he adapted. See, and that's the thing. I feel like Mahomes is always going to be good, but he's going to be like Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers good. Like I feel like like Justin Herbert, and again, right? I'm very sensitive to that Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers good, because who also is in that same category? Dan Fouts, Phillip Rivers. I'm a little used to, good but close but no cigar type quarterbacks. Yeah. Like neither of those ones too. So used to. That's what you get as a Chargers fan.
And with Justin Herbert, I don't see that. Like watching him last year, I'm like, okay, this kid might have something. And as the year progressed, because and I just did this recently. I went back on Game Pass and watched all the Chargers games from last year. And, I've been following them this year. Then I'm rewatching a lot of games too. It comes so easy. Like his problem right now is the defense not stopping the run. Oh, we'll get on that in a little bit. Is this a segment? Are we doing that? Yeah, that's this one, huh? Yeah. Speaking about stopping the run, but yeah, okay. So we'll deep dive into that a little bit. Let's put a hold on the Chargers Raiders talk, because prior to that, I think there was so I can see, based off of the game I'm about to ask you about, why argument could be made for him not being Montana-esque. How about them Texans, Richie?
Jesus Christ.
If you like, we can just discuss the Houston massacre that occurred. The
Texans beat
Houston
Chargers
Christmas
by 30
Massacre.
points.
Mm. I haven't found the stats yet, but I think that the Chargers are quite possibly the worst Christmas week team in history.
We have to get the numbers together and bring that back. No, like, okay, here's the thing. And I've been, ever since you told me we were talking about this, I've been mulling around on it. We are in the middle of the hardest rebuild in the history of this franchise. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot because we've only been around for, well, actually, this is our 20th. We're coming up on our
it's been
20th
some
season.
time. Yeah, you guys have been up and down.
So we're coming up on our 20th season next season. And like we had a rough start, but we've never had a rebuild. Like this is our first rebuild. We've been a championship, and this is me coming from a state of bias. I believe the Texans were a championship contender from 2012 all the way to 2019.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to ask you, right? So, because I want to, like, for this exercise, I want to put you in the, you are Janice McNair, and like, and First I want to ask you, like,
sell the team to a competent owner.
Didn't hey, you want the? I think the
Janice McNair.
We can trade for the Spanoses.
No, I'll keep the McNairs over the Spanos.
They'll move you to San Antonio.
Yeah, I was going to say, at least I'll get to stay in our city.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you that, though. What happened to the Texans? Because I feel like you said they were a legitimate contender.
Bob McNair dying.
Really? Okay. Is that do you think that's the, because outside of Deshaun Watson, that's all I could come up with. But like, if you're Janice McNair,
if you look at the downfall of the Texans, it goes Bob McNair's death, the retirement of our GM, and then Bill O'Brien taking over as GM, and then the Hopkins trade. That is literally the timeline of the downfall. Up until McNair dying, we were a championship contender. We made it to the AFC Championship, and then the year after McNair died.
Right.
And then the year after that, we're what? 19, or we're not 19. We're 4-12.
Was that last year, 4-12?
That's this year.
Oh, this year.
4-12.
Okay. Did they make the wild card last year, or was that the year before? When did they play Buffalo in the wild card or divisional? That was the year before, right?
That was last year.
That was last year. Okay, yeah, they were in the playoffs last year.
Yes.
Like, what is going on in Houston?
Bad year.
Yeah, no, it's a bad year, but
hang on, let me double check. I want to double check on that because this is the first year of Watson's holdout.
Right.
And when Watson was playing, we were good.
So I'll cut to that before I ask you the question I want to ask you, as we're running short on time there. So if you were to, because obviously, like, I want to get more nitty gritty, but we might only have time to get this one. What do you do with Watson? So again, you're in the owner's box.
Trade his ass.
Say it again.
Trade his ass.
There you go.
Oh, no.
What do you look
mistake. For? Last year we went 4-12 as well. We had the exact same record.
Yeah, I thought, because I remember, like, that was a shock to me.
It was the year before was our year where we went 10-6. And the year before that was the year we broke the NFL streak record.
Okay. Yeah, see, and that is as much of a shock as the Seahawks being terrible this year is as much of a shock. I'm like, just watching the Texans play poor football. I'm like, what? I'm not used to this.
Yeah, I'm not either. Yeah. Imagine being me and watching this team your whole damn life. From the moment we drafted JJ Watt until last year, we were a great team. Yes, we had one bad year in the middle, Deshaun's rookie year, because he got hurt, but we've always been a contender. And we've learned how to be a contender even with bad quarterbacks. Look at some of the quarterbacks we've taken to the playoffs.
Didn't they have a... Oh, yeah, Brock Osweiler. Wasn't Tannehill was Miami,
Brock
right?
Osweiler. Tannehill was Miami. Fitzpatrick. Case Keenum.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of. Mariota? He was Tennessee. No, that's right. He was old Houston. But yeah, okay. So you trade Deshaun Watson. What do you look for? Like, what needs improvement? Would you say?
We need weapons. We have a decent rushing game right now. I could say if we could get a franchise running back, we need that. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Half of Houston will agree with me. Half of the Houston fans will agree with me. Half will disagree with me. I think you hold on to Davis Mills and get in the offseason, go look for a veteran quarterback. Go look for a quarterback in his last few years of his career who wants to still take some snaps. go look for I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But go look for a quarterback, get him on a 2-year contract, and have him mentor Davis Mills. And Davis Mills can come back and he can be your franchise quarterback. I think Davis Mills, and that's just me.
That's bold.
I know the kid needs to improve, but he has the best rookie QBR.
Oh, there you go. There you go. He's just a rookie right now, huh?
Yes, this is his first year, and he has a better QBR than Mac Jones, who's going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
He has a better QBR than Mac Jones. He has a better QBR than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Mac Jones, I didn't see that one coming. I didn't call that. But real quick, right before we go to the break, so you want a veteran QB?
Weapons.
Sort of, you already have the quarterback of the future. Do you prefer tanking or playing for pride towards the end of it? Tanking.
We can tank for 2 years, rebuild, and come back and be a championship contender.
And
I wanted us to tank this year. I was mad when we beat the Chargers.
Yeah. Yes, you were. I can vouch for that. I have the text messages to prove that. But yeah, that was what an annihilation. Well, we're going to keep talking about the Chargers on the other side of the break. Maybe we'll sort of revisit that game if there are any highlights. But to the Real Gabe Anders show with myself, Gabriel Anders, and Richie Vegas. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, the AWF is back January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona as we present High Stakes. Watch the AWF stars risk it all in the ring. Bet on an action-packed family fun night of entertainment and come roll the dice with us January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona at the new AWF Arena. Tickets are on sale now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com and please support our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Real Gabe Anders show. Quickly realizing, Richie, that we're going to need to go 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, if not more. So any terrestrial radio stations, slip into the DMs. Is that what you crazy kids say these days, Richie, or is that outdated slang too?
When you say it, you make it sound archaic, but no, it's still correct.
Okay. Well, I have a knack for that. I have a knack for doing so. In fact, I have a knack for referring to old St. Louis teams, and probably made it sound ancient just by referring to it as St. Louis. If you've ever heard anyone under the age of 70 say that, like I might be the first person. But
I've never heard anybody over the age of 70 say it like that either. So to be fair.
Well, it's a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot for them St. Louis fans. So we're not bringing the Browns back to St. Louis, nor are we bringing the Cardinals. Can you believe I'm so old that the Cardinals were actually in St. Louis the year I was born? That's how old. Thank God they weren't in Chicago still. But I found it funny because I want to hear the St. Louis rumors that you're bringing up. But I found it funny that I was listening to the Sunday Night Football telecast when was that the game that the Cowboys were just whooping up on was it Washington?
Yeah,
and they were
an absolute ass kicking, and there was no games to cut to.
Yeah, and they were well, it's so funny because when they start scoring at such that high pace, right? They always start talking about. Oh, good trivia question for you, Richie. Do you know what the highest scoring, the result of? So both scores of the highest scoring football game ever, points by one team in an NFL game is?
I'm about to know.
You absolutely are. Well, it's funny they mentioned it. So like it is Chicago, and it was against that same Washington, formerly Redskins team, 73-0. So like if you're on Madden, right, and you look through the record book, you always see that. That stuck out from my mind. For some reason, that was a stat that always lived with me and still does. But it's funny because the way they mentioned it was sort of like I just did, right? So Chicago beat the Redskins, right? Who do you think initially off the bat when you hear that?
Wait, repeat the question.
So if I were to say, hey, way back in the day, back in the pre-AFL, NFL championship, pre-Super Bowl days, Chicago beat the Redskins 73-0. Who is that Chicago team? If you had to guess.
I don't know. If I had to guess?
Yeah, like old Chicago team, legendary, right? Like,
Is
what's a
that
legendary
still George
Chicago football
Hollis
team?
era?
Huh?
Is that still George Hollis era? Is the coach? Is that still George Hollis coaching era?
Ooh, it might be pre.
Is that pre George Hollis?
It might either be pre. It's way back there. It's way back there. Let me see, actually, real quick.
Because when I think of dominant Bears teams, I think of George Hollis first.
There you go. That's my point right there. You think Chicago Bears, right? It was the Chicago Cardinals that set that record. The Arizona Football Cardinals have the record for the most points scored ever by one team in a game with 73 in an NFL regulated game. In any regulation or not. Like, but it's funny because they just sort of slipped it in. They're like, Chicago beat them. And like, I laugh because I know the stat. I'm like, yeah, Chicago Cardinals. So I'm sitting there with my OCD saying, say Cardinals, Chicago Cardinals, because that's part of the fun of the stat. Because you also then learn that the Chicago or the Arizona, formerly St. Louis, formerly Phoenix, formerly were also formerly Chicago Cardinals way, way back in the day. And nobody really knows that. Like walk around Phoenix, say, yeah, walk around Phoenix, say, hey, do you have any Chicago Cardinals merchandise? They'll look at you like you're But yeah, fun stat. So speaking of that's, I wanted to bring that up because I laughed and he never said it. He never specified Chicago Cardinals. And that always sort of irked me. So this is my way, I guess, of venting that and putting that out there. But so St. Louis, you're hearing talks, are you?
For you now, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I have, before we do that, because this goes into it, I have a trivia question for you.
All right.
What NFL team has relocated the most?
I'm going to say,
because it's relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to say that it is going to be, my guess would be the Raiders.
No, you're wrong.
Really? Is it not? Is it the Raiders, Cardinals?
Nope.
It's not the Rams, is it?
It is.
Is it the Rams? So they had LA.
Cleveland. No, Cleveland.
Okay, you're right. You are absolutely right.
They started in Cleveland. They moved to LA. They moved to Anaheim. They moved to St. Louis. Then they moved back to LA.
Now, they were never the Anaheim Rams, though.
They still were the LA Rams, but they relocated through zoning. So it still counts as a relocation.
Does it count as
Different
so
market.
For that statistic, that counts.
Different market.
And
even if you don't count that, they've still moved more times than the Cardinals.
Okay.
Because they went Cleveland, LA, St. Louis, LA. That's 4 times. The Cardinals went Chicago, St. Louis, Arizona.
Now, what about Oakland, though? Because Oakland went Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas now, right? So are they tied?
So they're tied.
Okay. And with that little, so Anaheim would be the stat breaker, right? Would technically be the technicality
would be the stat breaker.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, speaking of the Rams, St. Louis misses them. We all know that, but LA's maybe happy to have them back. I don't know. I don't know how we have to get an interview of a Los Angelesian, because I know people who are born and raised in LA and like the Rams. And my first question is always why? Like if you're older than what, 5 years old when they moved back, like why would you like the Rams? Because they were terrible.
Well, for a long time, LA didn't have a team. So them not having a team, a lot of people who were still living in LA, like that I know of, like from my family, because my dad's side's all from LA.
Oh, that's right. You do have native Los Angelesians in your
Yeah. So it from that understanding, like people who lived in LA either fell on one of two sides of the camp. It was either you follow the Raiders because they were LA at one point, or you follow the Rams because they were LA at one point.
Right. And see, that's what always confused me, because like outside, like if you were born post 1979, right? Like, and from Los Angeles, why would you root for the Rams? Like, why would you not root for the Raiders? That was always, because that's how I grew up. Like, I'd be like, oh, are you? Because I had a fun fact about me. I had like a Jim Everett, those like kids football costumes with the helmet, shoulder pads, and the whole nine. Yeah. So I had one of those, and I was Jim Everett for Halloween one year. It was freaking sweet, and I loved it because I love those old Rams jerseys. But like everyone looked at me like I was gonna be the dumbest kid ever to grow up. Like they were like, oh, look, hope he makes it past 9 years old, and kid likes Jim Everett. Like what a dummy. But because I grew up in Southern California, so it was nothing but Raiders fans. Even in San Diego, nothing but Raiders fans. Like,
yeah.
But now, obviously, not the case. They've had some good teams, made the Super Bowl, but So are they going back? Are they looking to rack up the high score on moving back to St. Louis?
No,
What are
they're
you
not
hearing?
moving back to St. Louis. The rumor I've been hearing is as a part of a settlement deal with the state of Missouri and the city of St. Louis, that again, this is all just rumors and speculation, that the NFL is going to cave and give them an expansion team.
Oh, really? Okay, so not moving the Chargers over there.
No.
Okay.
Which would be an interesting move, but I've heard more rumblings about another expansion because we haven't had an expansion team in 20 years.
Since the Texans, right? Or technically since the Browns?
No, Texans. Texans were after the Browns.
Texans were after the Browns. You're right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, that would be
Texans were the last expansion team. So if you think about it, it's been 20 years. It's about time to freshen the league up. You could think about some of the ways that everything could be rearranged and rezoned. It breaks the perfect 32, which is the only reason I feel like it might not happen. Because the NFL is not going to add 4 more markets to make it a perfect 36. And then
correct. Nor would that really. So okay, so you. Oh boy, here, Richie, let the old man talk again. So I remember the realignment of the divisions when we went to 14 divisions. Okay, were you old enough to remember? Okay, because
that was when the Texans became a thing. I was like 7 or 8 years old. I knew what was going on.
Yeah, so you were aware of it. So back before then, like you had just wacky matchups, right? Like the Cardinals and the Cowboys used to be divisional rivals. Like in the NFC East, the Cardinals were an NFC East team because they were in St. Louis and it made sense. When they moved out to Arizona, it's like, well, that's dumb. Like that's the stupidest thing ever. But like, I think the Oilers, right, were one of the weird ones too before they moved to Tennessee. Yeah, so like, so I don't know. I don't know with the whole purpose, and obviously times change and you can change it, right? But like the whole purpose of the realignment, like how would one more team work? Even if you add one more team to each division. Well, no, if you say 36.
If you do 36 still divides by 8.
Yeah, it'd be so. Well,
I think I'm wrong. 36 doesn't divide by 8.
No.
They would have to do something drastic if they actually did it, but that's a big lawsuit. It is a massive lawsuit that's going on between the NFL and the city of St. Louis right now.
Right.
And one of the conditions for settling was an NFL team. So yes, your idea of them moving the Chargers there could work too, but the Chargers are still in LA till 2026.
Okay, I knew there was a time cutoff there. Yeah.
It's 4 more years.
I mean, at this point, I'd probably rather go to a game in St. Louis than in LA and Inglewood or whatever. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure the stadium is fine, but just, you know.
SoFi's a pretty stadium.
It is very nice. It is very nice. It's the Ram Stadium. And I'm saying that as a statement. Like it is not a Charger stadium.
It's not the Charger Stadium. Yeah. It's not the same feeling.
Right. And and every time you watch a Chargers game as a San Diegan, I feel that. Like they don't belong here. But in St. Louis, guys, I've talked to some people from St. Louis too, who are very open, very receptive, and would embrace the Chargers like they were the new Rams. You know, so
well, because they'll just be happy to have a team again and they won't feel fucked over.
Right. And I know it always comes conditionally too from the St. Louisans that I've talked to is if they know the team's going to stay, because right, they've had the Cardinals come and go. They've had the Rams come and go. So they're kind of burnt out on football unless they can sort of like, and what would you think? Like, what can an NFL team do or what can the NFL do to sort of give them that assurance, right? Of like, okay, well, we have a team, cool, but like, will we have this team in 20 years? Like, I don't know. What can you do to put that peace of mind in a St. Louis fan's mind?
Contracts.
Oh, yeah, true. Contracts.
It's the same thing they did with Vegas.
Okay. How long is Vegas in there for?
10 years.
Okay. They'll be back in Oakland in 11 years.
No, they won't. Trust me, like Oakland's not paying for a stadium.
They will be back in Oakland playing in the Coliseum next to the A's, still being the only team that plays on a baseball diamond.
The A's are coming to Vegas too.
Is that the latest talk?
Yes.
Okay. What is this Oakland Vegas link? You live there. What is this Oakland Vegas link? Because I watched and when they moved from LA to Oakland, I read this stat the other day. Oakland is the first and only team, I think, to ever play a major league game. They played like 6 games in I don't know if it was Sam Boyd or what, but they played in Vegas.
It was Cashman.
Is that the link?
No, it's the Cashman Field.
Oh, is that where they? Okay, yeah, I'm not big on
That's where they
the
played.
Vegas. Okay, so yeah, they played for 6 games back in like '95, I think, when they were renovating the Raiders, the Coliseum. That's a funny statement, isn't it? They're renovating the Coliseum. Can't tell, but they did it. They
Yeah,
called it that.
I don't. The only link I can think of is the fact that we inherit things from California, regardless of where it comes from California, because
Right.
Vegas is basically just California 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Pretty much.
So like a lot of things come from California and they just land there. There was talks for a long time about the Clippers moving.
Yeah. See, I wish the Clippers would just move back to San Diego.
Yeah.
I would have been fine trading the Chargers for the Clippers. That would have made me a basketball fan.
Well, Vegas is just becoming a huge sports market because people are seeing the benefit behind having a sports team in the sports betting capital of the world.
Right.
So,
which is crazy that and you having lived there, isn't it crazy that prior to the Knights there was no professional, like notable professional teams there?
I could tell you why. Vegas didn't have a big population until the mid 2010s. Before then, they were under 1 million.
Oh wow! See, I don't think I realized that. Yeah, I always figured it was big.
Vegas's population boom happened in the mid 2010s, so not a lot of people lived in the Vegas metro area, so they didn't see the benefit behind having a major market team there. It was a very transient town, and the other thing about Vegas that's different than other small market NFL teams, there's no neighboring cities. Right. There's no major neighboring cities. You have Vegas, and then you have like Pahrump, you have Mesquite, you have Boulder City, and you have Henderson.
Henderson is the most notable, Vegas. Right? The most reputable of any of them. Yeah.
Everything else is a Vegas suburb. And Henderson is a Vegas suburb. So you don't have a lot of major surrounding cities that can share the market. So the next closest city is Reno, and that's 8 hours away.
Oh yeah, that's not even in the. I mean, Reno's more a Bay Area town than it is a Vegas town.
Correct. Like the next closest town over is Bakersfield. That's California.
I didn't realize that's the next closest town. That's crazy.
Other than Baker being the border town between California and Nevada, but. Yeah, the next closest major city is Bakersfield.
I'm surprised you're not a Condors fan, Bakersfield Condors. But okay, so more news. So that's interesting. I say just ship the Chargers over, but
yeah.
So Antonio Brown, what's this Antonio Brown news you heard? There's an update on him walking out, gave the peace symbol, deuced out.
He's officially been cut.
Okay.
From the Buccaneers as of today. He is no longer on their roster and he's on waivers. So he could be picked up by another team if another team so chose to do it. He also came out with an official statement saying that Arians was trying to make him play on a broken ankle.
Alrighty. Well, there you go. You got to take him at his word for it, right? I mean, he did jog off the field.
He jumped in the air, dude. I don't think that man had a messed up ankle at all. I think he's just, unfortunately, I really think it's CTE.
Did he? Yeah. At that point, there's not really a lot of jokes to be made, but I mean, when you throw that into there, if that is the sort of the inspiring factor, then that becomes a lot more serious of an issue, right? Because it's all sort of haha when it happens, and the fact that the Buccaneers still won just added a level of haha in my mind. It's like this crazy Tom Brady guy, but yeah, when you start throwing that in, that's the clincher right there. But so I mean, with all of that, like. Did he? Because I was going to ask. There's no sense even going down the rabbit hole of asking if he specified ankle or if it might be CTE induced, and it is what it is. But with that being said, though, if that sort of might be rearing its head, like, is there a spot for him on another team? Do you feel like if you again put your owner hat on with the Texans, like, do you bring him into Houston?
No.
Do you?
No.
I couldn't imagine, right? Like, who would?
I could tell you a team that would do it for a playoff push because he'd be eligible.
Who's that? LA?
LA.
Rams?
Yeah.
I could see that. Well,
or Arizona.
I don't think he makes him. I don't think he moves the needle in Arizona, though. That's the thing. I mean,
I think he does. We don't have Arizona doesn't have Hopkins right now.
Oh, is he injured? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Weren't they talking about bringing back Fitz though? Did they actually move on that?
I don't think they did.
Okay, because I know that I thought I saw that they signed Fitz. I don't think he played,
but he hasn't played.
Yeah, because they activated him or something a week or two ago.
He's off of retired reserve.
Okay, so I could see them bringing Fitz back before signing Antonio Brown, just because I think Fitz moves the radar more, even though he's been sitting at home eating Cheetos. But like with the Rams, I could see that because just they've hired everybody. They've signed everybody. I mean, but I could see that, and he would play he doesn't have to do too much because they have Cooper Kupp and an explosive Matt Stafford. I didn't see that one coming. Like I thought that was the dumbest trade ever in the world, getting rid of Goff, but wow, it's worked out for them.
It has. It's Matt Stafford. The thing is, I am opposite camp of you. When I saw that trade, I immediately thought the Rams are winning a Super Bowl in 2022.
Wow. Okay.
This is the thing. This is how much time do we have left in this segment? Because this is a rant.
We got about a minute.
Okay. So I'll try to make this quick. Matt Stafford is the most underrated quarterback of the 21st century. He has the stats, he has the skill, he has the intelligence. He has never had the coaching, and he's only had one competent surrounding piece around him in his entire career in Megatron.
Yep.
So he has always been missing everything around him, and he still had enough to make Detroit relevant for a few years. So him going to a team that had everything but not even competent, because you can't say that that LA's old quarterback wasn't competent, but
right. He got him to a Super Bowl,
right? But Stafford is the next thing you need. Stafford for me has always been on that. He's been a better Phillip Rivers,
right? I agree.
To me,
100%.
Stafford is a more consistent Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, puts up a lot more. I mean, even though they're sort of garbage time numbers, puts up a lot more numbers consistently. That like had the Chargers had Stafford instead of Rivers, who knows, right? With a lot of those teams. So I'm on that page.
I think Stafford with the right pieces is not just a franchise quarterback, but a championship caliber quarterback. And him being on the Rams is the perfect fit for him to do that.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll talk about early Super Bowl picks in just a bit. Maybe the Rams creep in. Maybe we'll see. Who knows? But we'll get that after the break. But when we come right back from the break, we're going to talk some pro wrestling. I think you said there's some rumblings going on as we speak in WWE. Is that right?
There was some breaking news as we went on air, so we'll talk about that.
All righty. Well, we'll be right back here on the At Real Gabe Anders show, and you're listening to us. We'll be back after this break shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, the AWF is back January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona as we present High Stakes. Watch the AWF stars risk it all in the ring. Bet on an action-packed family fun night of entertainment and come roll the dice with us January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona at the new AWF Arena. Tickets are on sale now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com, and please support our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in. This is the At Real Gabe Anders show. Myself, Gabriel Anders, and Richie Vegas here, and we are about to talk some pro wrestling here. And Richie, I believe you stated before the break, we have some breaking news that's been coming in right before we jumped on air, and I imagine still going on, right? What do you got for us?
So, I don't know if you did you hear about any of the releases that happened earlier this week?
Earlier this week? No, not so much.
So earlier this week, they started releasing some of the backstage talent.
The biggest WWE, names, you're saying, right?
WWE, yeah, WWE.
Okay.
The biggest names released were Road Dogg.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next one's bigger. William Regal.
Oh, wow.
So they released William Regal, which is huge because he's been a fundamental part of NXT, which we'll talk about NXT because I have a lot to say about NXT. A lot going on there. But they've cut Regal today, right as we were going on air. Only one cut has happened. Only one cut has happened. I'm double checking to make sure my words. I don't need to eat my words. I want to make sure that I'm still current on it. But
Right.
as we were going on air, WWE officially cut Samoa Joe.
Hmm.
And he was
These are
also
surprising ones.
Yeah, he was another major backstage presence in recent times in NXT. I know you don't really follow that product all that much, but he actually came back and competed in ring and won the NXT title and had a really cool feud with Karrion Kross.
Okay. See, and I thought I had heard that Joe was getting back in the ring because he had been out for a while, right?
He was. He had been on injury, and then he came back, won the title from Kross, and then I had to vacate it.
Was it due to injury, or do you think it was related to that? Like, how did the timetable sort of add up? Okay.
Injury. No, it was injury. And then he moved towards being a backstage presence. So now he the harsh part of all of it is he got cut before he could come back and do anything else. And I think he's the type of guy who you want. But him and Regal are both guys who you really want backstage. There were some other cuts. Major in-ring cut was Timothy Thatcher. They got rid of Timothy Thatcher.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got rid of Danny Burch, who I don't know if you know who Danny Burch was, but for a little while, Pat McAfee was wrestling in NXT. And Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne were his little faction that he had around him.
Pat McAfee. McAfee, the punter?
The punter.
They pulled him out of the booth and he was wrestling?
He wrestled. Oh my God. Okay, we have to one of these
fill me in on this.
On the show. Okay. On the show. I have something I want to do next week as a segment. We will do a live watch through of this match together, a live reaction watch through of this match together.
We can do that.
Because it brings together our two things that we love, football and wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, and depending on where you stand on the wrestling fence, right? Like, I heard a lot of good about McAfee, not so much bad, but there, some indifferent. Like, I was kind of indifferent. I enjoyed him. Like, he's sort of like
when I tell you who he wrestled, you're gonna understand why we have to do this.
Okay. Well, yeah,
let's against Adam Cole.
Huh. Okay.
It was him and Adam Cole, so we have to do a live watch through of this match together next week.
Yeah, that sounds. We'll note that down because I want to do that, and I want to see. So yeah, because that floored me even more than the releases, which floored me pretty good right there. But okay, yeah, we'll hold that for next week. We'll do a watch through on that because I want to see. The last thing when I heard that McAfee was joining WWE, the last thing I expected was him to be in the ring. But I mean, we got zombies last year, so what? Who knows?
That's
but
true.
So
Ms. Zombies. Oh God.
Yeah, I would have gone.
I remember that phone call. I remember that phone call after that happened. You were like, "Don't watch it." Why? Ms. Zombies.
Everybody who I could reach, I told, and I love wrestling. Like I don't think I've ever told anybody in my life not to watch something when it comes to professional wrestling. But I was just like, hey, don't trust me. And I hadn't even watched it, but I was so heated just on the concepts. I tried to watch this. I still haven't watched the segment. I won't. I refuse to. Like that's the most ridiculous. I would, and I know there's a lot of backlash to it. I didn't watch it either, but I would rather have watched the Pizza Hut Battle Royal that they did a while back over the zombies. So you've watched both.
That was better than this. That was better than zombies. Yeah, that was better than zombies.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to ask. So because I'm like, there's no way that it was silly. I'm sure, but sillier than zombies. Come on, that's just
the zombies
ridiculous.
Was absurd. The zombies was absolutely absurd.
Like, I don't know. That'll be another time for another day, but another rant for another day. But okay, so what do you think the rationale is? So those are super flooring.
I can tell you, and it'll lead me into my next rant I wanted to have about wrestling. They've completely flipped what NXT is now. NXT is not what NXT was a year ago, even. NXT, they wanted to change it. I don't know if you knew this. They took control of it away from Triple H. So Triple H no longer has control of it. It's all Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon now.
Which isn't the worst combo.
Yeah, it's Pritchard and McMahon. Like,
what else? They're the guys who brought us the
You're going to get what you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get another Raw. You're going to get Raw Light.
Right. Is that what it sort of turned into?
Absolutely 100%. They have a guy who's a serial killer.
Hi, jeez. Okay.
And this guy was scouted
Kane
when Triple H
Jr.
was running NXT. He was scouted to be the next Brock Lesnar, and they turned him into a serial killer gimmick.
Alrighty.
But no. So my other so to wrap that all around, the reason that they're cutting all these backstage NXT agents and backstage NXT personalities is because NXT is a completely different NXT now. It's not NXT black and gold. They actually changed the entire aesthetic of the show too. It's all rainbowy now.
Yeah, they have the rainbow brand, which I thought, I don't know, and I didn't see a lot of buzz online. I've been trying to limit my buzz reading of, comments and stuff online on Twitter and whatnot, but like the was that a move to basically mimic sort of the original like graphic packaging that AEW was doing when they debuted Dynamite?
No,
because I feel like it was.
I don't, because now they're no longer trying to compete with AEW. That's what NXT was. They made NXT a third brand and they were trying to compete directly with AEW. That's not what it is anymore. It's literally a pure developmental brand again.
Okay, which is good. Which is a good thing.
Yeah, but
you have some beef with it, right? What's the beef?
No,
where's the beef?
They tried to make the NXT title like a third world title. Like they tried to give it that same prestige. They even had the NXT champion compete at Survivor Series. And then what are they going to do? They're going to go and put it on somebody who's been in the business for less than a year.
Oh, that's right. You were mad. You let me know about this one. Okay, let's have it. Let's have it.
So they took the belt. They took the belt, the NXT World Title, right? That is a world title. WWE considers it to be a world title, and they put it on Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker, for those who don't know, is the son of Rick Steiner and the nephew of Scott Steiner. So yeah, he's got wrestling in his blood. Like he was raised around the business and all that. That's cool, whatever. You don't put a world title on somebody who's been in the business officially for less than a year. He was signed by WWE less than a year ago, has been training for less than a year, and they've put their third world title on him.
Well, I mean, and to play devil's advocate here, maybe, and you always hear more objective out of me, right? Since we're in the business. So the question that I would pose is he over?
Kinda, but it's hard to tell.
See, the fact that you have that doubt right there, right, is sort of point in your favor, right? For your argument.
I don't think he's as over as Tommaso Ciampa. That's who they took the title off of.
Okay.
I don't think he's nearly as over as Tommaso Ciampa, but I think Ciampa's also on his way out. In the last 6 months, NXT has cut more than half of its roster.
See, that's insane. That just the question that begs to be asked is, what is this direction that they're trying to take it into? Because when you talk about a developmental round, like why do you ever get rid of Regal? Like,
right, 100%.
The most.
Well, I don't think he's on. I can tell you why they got rid of Regal. He's not on the same think tank as Bruce Pritchard and his man.
Right.
Obviously, right. And Bruce Pritchard wanted to be a think tank. That's what it is. And he doesn't think the same as them, so odd man out.
Right.
For the longest time, it was him and Triple H,
which gelled very well.
Absolutely,
because
that was why you had so many. I mean, look at some of the stars they created that WWE did end up squandering. I mean, the biggest one that you could say they didn't squander is Seth Rollins, right? Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns.
All right.
Because those. I don't know.
Would you count the girls maybe even?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Sasha, Charlotte,
the Four Horsewomen. We wouldn't have had that without Regal.
Right.
Without Regal, Sasha Banks wouldn't have been in WWE. Regal's the one who scouted Sasha Banks.
Okay.
Regal scouted Bayley too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting to me because it's like, well, like who do you replace that? Have they? Well, no, this is all fresh today, right? So we don't have any immediate announcements.
Was yesterday.
Regal was
yesterday. Regal was yesterday. Joe was the only one today, but I knew more were coming because they did Regal, Road Dogg, Timothy Thatcher, Dan Burch. They did all of them yesterday. So the way WWE has been doing their releases this year is they'll do one big wave of releases, they'll wait a day, and they'll do a second major wave of releases.
Mm-hmm. Man, you know what we should have done had we not, when we should have seen this trend, because I feel like this is a 2-year trend of all these releases. I mean, when AEW started, right? Like they signed everybody in the industry. I feel like just about, they signed 70%
because they were trying to poach.
Right. Yeah. And they were trying to protect their assets.
Stop AEW from getting big talent.
Yeah.
And now look at all the guys who've gone over to AEW in the last few years, or not even the last few years, last few months. You got CM Punk, you got Bryan Danielson, you got Adam Cole, and I don't know if you saw this, you got Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly in there now too.
Okay, no, I didn't. I don't think I caught that, but okay, yeah, those are huge.
You have all of Undisputed Era sans. Yeah, you have all of Undisputed Era sans Roderick Strong in AEW now.
See, here's the interesting thing, though, right? And this sort of goes to our conversations that we have offline, as we've had many, many of them about wrestling. So here's my question with this, right? These are all big superstar names. Obviously, no one can doubt that, especially when you start talking about, Ambrose, Punk, everybody, Arn Anderson, like everybody that they've signed. My question to you, though, as a wrestling fan, as a very solid, very in-deep wrestling fan, how do I want to phrase this? How much AEW do you watch comparatively toward, in comparison to how much WWE programming do you watch? Would you guess?
There's no comparison. I don't watch WWE, the product for WWE at all.
Really?
I catch matches. If I hear about a match that like set the world on fire, I'll catch a match, but I won't watch a full program. I won't watch a full pay-per-view. I won't watch a full live special. I won't watch a full anything anymore because it's just not entertaining to me.
Yeah, and it has become quickly not my cup of tea, but I mean it's been that way for me for a few years.
The last full thing I watched was SummerSlam. No, that's a lie. I watched War Games.
Okay, and SummerSlam because you were there, right?
Right.
Like you're not gonna not watch after.
Oh, I watched bits and pieces of Survivor Series. I'm gonna watch the Rumble start to finish because it's the Rumble.
Right. Well, and too, that brings up a good point. Like I want to say the only like I haven't even gone back and watched WrestleMania this last year. I watched bits and pieces of it. I watched the Royal Rumble.
Mania was good. Mm-hmm. SummerSlam was good. The WWE, this is the thing. WWE knows when they have to deliver, and they find a way to do it.
Right.
Because I cannot tell you how loud that pop was when Brock Lesnar came out at SummerSlam.
Really? Okay. Yeah, because you were there. You were in the building, so... Okay.
Second loudest pop I've ever heard. That was the second loudest pop I've ever heard in person.
Wow. Okay. And that's crazy.
The loudest pop I ever heard was Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania 31.
Okay.
So that is the second loudest pop I ever heard in person. And it was huge because it was Brock.
Right.
And WWE knows how to present certain guys, but the problem I think they've been facing is in the last few years, they haven't been able to create another one of those guys.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because I feel like, I mean, you kind of go back like the last 10 years, like who's really been made, and I guess you can sort of argue, right? Like Roman Reigns, Randy Orton,
Rollins. No, Orton's been made for a long time.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
I can name 3. I can name 5, but 2 of them are gone.
Okay, go for it.
Reigns, Rollins for 2.
Right.
Another one that I would also say is Drew McIntyre.
Okay, that's fair. That's a weird one, I feel like, because I feel like they didn't really make him. He's sort of just, I don't know. I don't recall him becoming popular on the indies, but when he came back from the indies, for some reason, he was like because I personally, because I was involved with the indie scene at that point, like he was doing a lot of good stuff, but like I think Cody had more buzz. Cody Rhodes had more buzz when he hit the indies, like Cody and AJ back in that time frame.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had more buzz because that was Cody and AJ.
Right. And comparatively to when McIntyre, who hit the same time as maybe like Shelton Benjamin and Morrison were all on the indies, like, but when he came back, I feel like McIntyre became, I don't know. I wasn't really watching religiously when McIntyre was introduced. So I never really,
time? Or what's the second time? The first time or the second time?
The first time, like when he debuted overall.
Me neither. I wasn't following that hard then either.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed is I've kind of, because when I sort of got back turned onto the product heavily, he was already sort of on his way down, on his way out to the indies. But I know the company, it seems like, in hindsight, has always been very up on him.
Oh, yeah.
Almost is like they've translated that and the fans have sort of caught on, and they are as well.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say I don't see it, because he's an excellent performer. He's an excellent wrestler. I hate the word worker.
I have 2 more for you, though.
What
that
are
are no
they?
longer with the company. I actually have three more.
Okay. Go for it.
Ambrose or
Right.
Moxley. And then the other two that I had, Braun Strowman.
Okay.
Because they made him a big deal.
They did
made him a big deal.
Do you feel like the fans responded to him being that big deal?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And the other one is the biggest mistake they've ever made. And I think it's one of the mistakes that when we look back on the end of WWE, that we look back and say, this might be something that really fucked him over. Bray Wyatt.
Right. I've heard, is there any validity to the talks of him coming back that you've heard?
He's working on a movie right now.
Okay.
So he's filming a movie, a Hollywood movie. After that, who knows? He's doing a horror movie.
Okay.
So after that, who knows what happens to him?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I would personally love for him to go back to WWE, but at the same time, I kind of want him to tear it up on the indies because I know he would.
Right. Oh, he'd be fantastic. Like, if you want to talk about getting the indies to be able to draw again.
They already are.
Give us Bray Wyatt.
I mean, they already are. Look at some of the names that are drawing on the indies right now. One that I never saw coming that is drawing more than I've ever seen, like from this caliber of talent. Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
Have you seen what he's been doing?
Woo, woo, woo.
Have you seen what he's been doing, though? The most unpredictable thing that came from 2021 was Matt Cardona becoming a deathmatch legend.
Yeah, that I didn't see coming, but
that was not on my 2021 bingo card.
That was as surprising as the positive response that I heard towards Arquette getting in the ring with the in a deathmatch setting. But
and it was the same company.
Right. Well, there you go. Was it CCW or no? Who put that on?
GCW, Game Changer.
GCW. Oh, it was Game Changer. Okay. I heard. Did I hear they're going out of business, or am I just starting rumors now?
No, Game Changer's doing waves right now, man.
Okay. Well, that's why it was so surprising to me, because I thought I heard rumblings of like something negative within the company that might be.
No, Game Changer just did a really big. Game Changer just did a really big collaboration show with FSW like a month back.
Okay, I do recall that, and they've been doing a lot of. I want to say there are a couple other ones too, but yeah, no, I know for the last 2-3 years, Game Changer's been knocking it out of the park, haven't they? Like they've become
the last year, 2 years. Yeah, they've been making waves.
Because I know they were going like everyone, right? They had a little setback with the pandemic, but even pre-pandemic, I feel like they were. If you were to look at like the budding AEW, of course, they sort of surpassed everything, in their own right, but they were sort of on the lines, right, with like the emerging NWA, Ring of Honor. Like you could easily lump them with like Ring of Honor and Impact if you were exposed to them and you knew what they were doing. Argument could be made that they were getting on that level.
Oh, absolutely. That argument could easily be made.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no, Bray Wyatt on the indies. That's an interesting thought. But speaking of indies, before we go to the break, little shout out to Chris Evans, first ever AWF champ, also your 2021 Arizona Wrestling Federation Fan Nation Choice Award. So I just want to fit that in. He's the Wrestler of the Year. So I think next week we'll have more on the rest of those awards. I lost my train of thought. I'm thinking of Bray Wyatt on the indies. Can you imagine the houses?
That'd be nuts, man.
Can you imagine and that's what I mean by like drawing more. Like, yes, there's a lot of attention, but you're also, you're in these houses. You're in a lot of these rooms, at least out west. Like, think of the typical draws and even good draws that we have, and just the amount of people in the building. Put Bray Wyatt in there. Wow.
Oh my God.
Imagine Bray Wyatt in Samstown. Did I say that right? Yeah. Bray Wyatt in Samstown, or out in, out somewhere in LA, or even out here in Phoenix. Like, man, that boggles the mind. But nonetheless, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have our last segment here on the At Real Gabe Anders show. Myself, Gabriel Anders, Richie Vegas. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, the AWF is back January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona, as we present High Stakes. Watch the AWF stars risk it all in the ring. Bet on an action-packed, family fun night of entertainment. And come roll the dice with us January the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona at the new AWF Arena. Tickets are on sale now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com, and please support our sponsors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Last segment here. at Real Gabe Anders Show. I almost called myself. I'm not Richie Vegas. You're Richie Vegas. I'm Gabriel Anders. You're Richie Vegas. And see, I was about to brag. See, this is what I get, right? I was about to brag about not really flubbing up the show name too much. But in lieu of it, as I'm getting ready to brag to you, Richie, I flub up our names.
Yeah, that happens.
So what do you do? No, it wouldn't be me if I didn't flub something up in that regard. Who knows? I'll call this show at Pro Wrestling Weekly, AZ Weekly by the end of the night.
Throwback.
We sign off. Yeah, that'll probably happen. So, okay. So we are gonna jump right in. It is darn near playoff time, Richie, and wow, what we have a week. So I heard somebody state, and tell me if you can you bring up the schedule of the 1994 NFL season for me while I sort of let you know why as I'm doing. Do you still have Google up there?
I do.
Okay, so I heard somebody say over the last weekend, I was listening to games. I listened to games on the radio. Westwood won. If listening hours and listenership was currency, they would all retire off of my listenership alone. But I heard somebody mention that this is the first ever time in NFL history that there's been a week 18 in the regular season. I'm challenging that, and I want to say that in 93 or 94 or 95, one of the years that Joe Montana was a Kansas City Chief, they experimented with a season with 2 bye weeks, thus making that the only 18-week regular season prior to this year. Do you have that pulled up? Am I right on that, or am I off base?
You are 100% right.
Okay, it was 1994, right? Or 95?
95.
Okay, so it was the year after the Chargers went to the Super Bowl. That was the year that the Cowboys played the Steelers in the Super Bowl in Tempe, and there were 18 weeks. And if you look at the schedule, there were 2 bye weeks if you pull up any one team schedule, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So not that it is a huge hill to die on to get off my chest, but yeah, that was bothering me when I heard that because I was talking back to the radio. I'm saying, no, I don't think that's right. Lo and behold, not important enough for me to look it up myself, but it is important enough for me to have Richie Vegas look it up. So now we all know this is the second ever, but this is still, I will still give the NFL the credit of being the biggest season ever because there were still in that 18-week season, only 16 games. So this is the first time that there have been 17
games.
Right. Oh my God. Have you had quite the aneurysm that I've been having over trying to figure out what winning schedules are and doing the math?
Yes.
Over the 17 game schedule.
Yes, I have.
Because
this week especially, because I'm like in playoff mode. I'm like, yes, playoffs are starting. Oh, wait. No, they're not. We have one more week.
It's like, all right, we can finish with 10 wins. This is going to be, wait a minute. Why do we have 8 losses? Oh no, we're 500. Oh, wait a minute. We can get in with a 9-8 schedule. What is that? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of, we'll speak about a lot of 9-8 teams in just a second. Let's go through. You want to do some picks for week 18? Some of these are throwaway, but some of these will be pivotal. So first game, let's look at the Saturday game or 2 of them. So first games are the Saturday games. KC Denver, who do you have in this one? Do you think Denver can pull out an upset and place? I don't know. Do they even spoil anything outside of?
No, they do nothing. I mean, it interrupts KC from getting the bye.
Right, which is already up in the air because, like we mentioned off air, doesn't Tennessee play Houston? No.
Yes.
No ill will towards you, Richie. But
it's 100% the truth. Tennessee plays Houston,
and if they're smart, that's what you want them to do.
If Houston can beat the Chargers by that high of a margin, there's a chance that they eke out a win, especially if Tennessee opts to not play a lot of their starters. I don't see that happening, but.
Well, and you're definitely going to get the full force Tennessee because they'll want to make sure, because if anybody can eke out a last minute bye, it's KC playing Mahomes playing the Broncos in Denver. Okay, they're in Denver. But I was watching the Texans Niners game from this last week, and Mills, to your point, Mills and the Texans have actually been doing very well. They were 2-0 going into. They were 2-0, aren't they? So they're 2-1 in the last few weeks. And if
I'm
I'm not
telling
mistaken,
you,
put up over 40 points.
Davis Mills is the quarterback of the future for Houston.
I liked him.
There's not a single question in my mind that he could be another Matt Stafford, like we were talking about Stafford earlier. He's that caliber level quarterback.
Good stuff. I liked what I saw out of him. So the Chiefs, the Broncos, who do you got?
Chiefs, Broncos. I'm going to go Chiefs.
Me too.
Mean, I don't think they're going to sit Pat Mahomes. I think Pat Mahomes is going to play. They want that bye. Actually, there's a chance they sit him. Do you know what time that game is? Is that game before or after the Tennessee game?
It is the very first game of the week. It is Saturday at 4:30 Eastern. The earliest game, first game of the week, kicks off.
Okay, then no. I think they play Mahomes.
Yeah, well, and honestly, like after I listened to the and watching the Chargers Broncos last week, Broncos are done. They're not in the sense like, oh, they can't win another one. They could put up a fight, but they're not fighting anymore. They've stopped playing this year. I feel like after I gave my dad a lengthy reason, as I mentioned, he's a Broncos fan, a lengthy reason of ways that they could the week before if they beat. I'm like, if they beat Oakland or Las Vegas, if they just beat the Raiders and all these things happen, the Broncos could make the day that the Chargers blew up against the Texans. I gave him a whole list of reasons, and within 2 hours, he's like, "Well, they lost to the Raiders, so no sense figuring that all out." I'm like, yeah. And so Dallas and Philly is the Saturday night game. Who do you got in Dallas and Philly? Philly kind of still fighting for the playoffs. No, they clinched the playoff spot.
No, Philly's in. Both those teams are in.
Mm-hmm. So not a meaningless game, but definitely wanting to go for momentum, right? You think Philly can pull up an upset, or I think Dallas is just too good this year for Philly.
I think Dallas wins it, just as an exclamation point. The seeding is important because I think if Philly wins, if I'm not mistaken, they actually take the division.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Hold on.
Let me look. Is that Cowboys 11? Oh, no.
No,
Cowboys
okay.
Division. So there's really no stake. I don't think the Cowboys come out full force. I think the Cowboys sit Zeke. I think the Cowboys relax a little bit. They don't have anything they're fighting for.
Well, I mean, the one thing they could be fighting for, right, is I wonder, and I don't have the numbers on this, but if they win, and the Buccaneers lose, which they're playing the Panthers, so not likely, but if they come out 12-5 and the Buccaneers come out 12-5, I don't know if there's a tiebreaker. I think the Cowboys go full force. If there's no tiebreaker and they stay 3 and 4 seeds respectively, how they are, and they can't get one up on the Bucs, I don't see. But the higher up you can get, right, the more home field games you have potentially. So
absolutely, there's no harm in competing for it, but also there is the harm in injury, and I don't think they're going to risk an injury to Zeke. Maybe
very true. Yeah, very true. So yeah, if the Cowboys play, I pick the Cowboys. If they don't play, and if they sit Dak, then no. They won't sit Dak, will they? They're not sitting Dak.
They won't sit Dak. They'll sit Zeke.
So I don't know. If Dak's in the game and they don't pull him out early for any reason, then, which I see him doing, I give it to Dallas. I go Dallas. Okay, Sunday games. Sunday early games. We have Green Bay and Detroit.
Doesn't matter. Green Bay.
Doesn't matter. Green Bay with their back.
Green Bay by 20.
Green Bay by 20. I say Green Bay by 2025 with Jordan Love in. I don't even think Rodgers plays. Rodgers
doesn't even suit up.
Yeah, I don't think so. Colts and the Jaguars.
Rodgers doesn't even suit up. Colts.
I want to take the Jaguars, but I think the Colts will, and they're fighting for the spot. So they have to kind of win.
Jaguars don't have a coach.
So they don't have a coach, true. Well, I mean, look at the Raiders, though. So it brings me to my next point on the no, we're not jumping to that game yet, but so this game is crucial because the Chargers and Raiders are win if you're in or win and get in. There is a statistical possibility that both the Chargers and the Raiders make the playoffs. This is what I was going to allude to earlier. If the Jaguars somehow beat the Colts, which who knows, stranger things have happened. The Colts are out of the playoffs.
Especially in the AFC South.
Weird
shit happens in the AFC South. I can attest to that.
Maybe the Subway payday hits Trevor Lawrence's checking account and he has, an extra oomph to him and wants to go out in his rookie season with a bang. They can spoil it. They can play spoiler, and that would render my Chargers Raiders game pretty much useless at that point because both teams will be in. if the Colts lose, both teams are in, the Chargers and the Raiders. So that could kill the drama because that could happen earlier in the day. And then, who even knows if Herbert and Carr play. So
yeah.
The Washington football team versus the Giants. So I'll talk about a meaningless game.
No, it doesn't matter. Washington football team and their last game is the Washington football team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Giants because is it Daniel Jones? Is that their QB?
Danny Dimes is garbage.
He's I don't think he's garbage, but he's definitely he's
Jimmy Garoppolo tier.
Oh, that's unfair. Okay, we'll get there. Because we might have a lot to talk about there. Bears and Vikings, another meaningless game. I'm going to say Vikings just because they're the most spastic team in the league, and I can see them taking one.
Yeah,
who do you got?
I'll take Bears on that one.
Man, Vikings, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. We didn't get a chance to today. Super spastic. Like they're either a Super Bowl contender or a number 1 draft pick, depending on just how the dice roll. Your boys, Houston and Tennessee.
Tennessee next.
Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. A lot of stakes riding on this one.
That game is
always a good matchup.
That game is important. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think Baltimore has a lot. I mean, they have way more to lose, so they're going to come out playing harder.
Mm-hmm.
But they still don't have Lamar.
Is he still out?
He's still out.
They can't play without him. And even, they can't play without him. And I didn't know that I don't know. I've been sleeping on him as I shouldn't be because statistically, why would I? But I've overlooked Lamar Jackson. I was watching the first Bengals Ravens game that I thought was more of a blowout, but it was, dude, whoever thought that it would be exciting to watch the Ravens and the Bengals play each other. Like it was the last time both of them were firing on all cylinders at the same time. But yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh because it's probably going to be Big Ben's last game, right?
Yeah, I think Big Ben retires.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Pittsburgh. I don't think they make the playoffs.
If he wins, it's his last regular season game. But if he wins, they go into the playoffs. They'll have a few more games.
Right. So I'm going to say Big Ben. I don't think they get in the playoffs, though. And then I think the Ravens just, they've been playing talk about garbage. Like they've been playing like garbage without Lamar. So Bengals, Browns. I kind of want the Browns to spoil. I've been rooting for the Browns to play spoiler these last couple of weeks. Who do you have in this one?
They're not playing Burrow, so I'll take the Browns.
Oh, are they going to say, yeah, they'll probably say Burrow. There's no use for him to risk that injury, huh? So, yeah, probably Browns. And then, actually, I want the Browns to win, but I'm going to pick Bengals. What's your problem with Jimmy G, bro? Niners and the Rams. You got hate for Garoppolo?
The most overrated quarterback in the last 5 years. Dude.
Oh man, dude, they're something like 34-17 with him starting. Well, that's the thing though. Is he even playing though? Because you might get Trey Lance in there because he had Trey Lance last week. He looked good, but Trey Lance I'm a big Trey Lance fan, but he is not done cooking in the oven by any means.
No, he's the type of kid that definitely needs more marinating. He's not ready.
Yeah. So the interesting thing with me, and obviously I'm going to side with this because the lady's a Niners fan, right? So I want them in the playoffs. I think if I'm not mistaken, Packers have clinched they've no, wait a minute. This 17 games, man. Okay. Rams, unless the Packers have a tiebreaker over them, which I thought I recall hearing, and the Packers have the Lions. So even with Jordan Love in, who cares? They're winning. They're going to 15-3 or 14-3 probably. The Rams can get to, if the Rams win and the Packers lose, which is highly unlikely, then it comes down to a tiebreaker. And if they don't get it, I don't know, man. Do they even play Stafford?
No. Yeah,
so I'd say the Rams sit Stafford out. I think Trey Lance gets another victory, and really what's just sort of grooming him to be the quarterback after Garoppolo. I love Garoppolo. I don't know what everybody's problem. I think he's underrated.
I could tell you his problem.
Injuries.
Consistency.
Yeah. Well, and
usually, those go hand in hand.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
Go hand in hand.
And the consistency problems that he does have, which I'll give I 100%, you are correct, is usually injury related because every single time you see him have a bad outing, and I started noticing this around the Miami game last year in 2020, was it's all related to injury because you'll find out and it's almost like I wonder if he doesn't tell the coaches he's hurt and he just plays hurt, which is a credible thing, but at the same time, are you doing a disservice to your teammates by doing that? That's my
absolute
big question.
disservice.
You know what I
I
mean?
just
So
think that he doesn't have, and I mean, it's just a speculative point of view. He doesn't have the endurance for a full 18-week season.
and that's true as well. And that's true as I would say the greatest argument for that would be their Super Bowl run against the Chiefs. Now I was just having this conversation. I think Kittle's not hurt. The Niners win that Super Bowl. I think they hold on and they go all the way, but that was Mahomes, Cinderella year. So that is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Rams sit Stafford. I think Trey Lance gets the win if Garoppolo's out. And I think if they actually give Garoppolo time enough, if he has 2 weeks or enough time for him to heal with whatever bone chip he has in his thumb and his throwing hand, I think that's what he's suffering from. Then I think they come back strong in the playoffs. But I think I take Niners, Bucks and Panthers.
We'll go Bucks. It's Brady.
Yeah, I don't even think they sit Brady. I don't think they can sit Brady.
I don't think Brady wants to sit, and Brady runs that team. I don't care what anybody says.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Brady says goes on that team, man. Bruce Arians is a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but whatever Brady says goes.
I wouldn't say great, but he's.
You wouldn't say
very
great?
Good. No, I wouldn't say great. I'm not as big a Brady. I don't know, man.
You don't think
feel
Bruce
like
Arians is a great coach?
Who was he with before Tampa? Arizona, right? Like, oh man, he had Kurt. He's the one who took them to the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner, right? Yeah, he had Kurt Warner, man. Kurt Warner, although he might not be as great as Brady.
He's old. I love Warner. Warner's my favorite quarterback of all time.
He's a good game caller. He couldn't do it with anyone else. Like who did they? Oh, geez, I can't see it now. I'm failing to remember all the. It was a sideshow with Arians in Arizona after Warner left, trying to find a new quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's like, I attribute Arians' success, which is a lot, and I'll give him that he has success. I just don't think he's not a Holmgren. He's not a Bill Cowher. He's not an Andy Reid.
An all-time great, but I think he passes the level of just being good.
He's a very successful. Oh no, he's better and good. I agree, he's better and good. But wasn't he an OC somewhere before he took over in Tampa for a year or two after he left Arizona, and he didn't do that well? I
want to say he was
like Cleveland or something like that. But
I want to say he was somewhere.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never really been a big Arians fan, and being out here, I don't know. I don't see it. Speaking of though, his old team, Cardinals, Seahawks.
Cardinals need a good win.
They need a good win. I don't know if they can do it though, man. I kind of picked it. Didn't the Seahawks put up 54 less? Or they put up 51 or 54. They put 54 plus. Yeah, I think they're going to close out strong because they've just had a dog crap year. But I don't know. I'm rooting for Kyler Murray, but I don't think it's happening. New England, Miami.
There's a lot of factors in that.
Yeah, see, I don't think Mac Jones is old enough to sit him yet. I think in his rookie year, you want him because he'll lose any momentum.
You want him in that position. You want him in that position. You want him playing. But I also think Miami's kind of been on a hot streak.
That's why I don't know if you see that. I was looking up. I didn't. Okay, so they were officially eliminated last week. The Chargers eliminated them.
But it's the Dolphins against New England as well.
Right.
If anything I know, Miami loves to play spoiler to New England.
And they have, if anything, just disrupting their momentum could be spoiling. If the Chargers could disrupt the momentum of the Chiefs or the Raiders going into the play, a big playoff run, we'd be rooting for it. So I'm sure they are too in Miami. New Orleans and did you pick one? New England?
No, I didn't.
What do you got?
I'm gonna go Miami on this.
Okay. I could see that. I'm going New England, but I could see it just as easily going the other way too. So Saints and Falcons, and I think one of the last meaningless games of the.
No, the Saints is meaningful. They're on the bubble.
Oh, they are on the bubble. You're right, because a win and a San Fran loss gets them in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Who's even their quarterback right now?
Miami, Tua. Or not Miami.
New Orleans. Aren't they down to like their third string quarterback right now?
I don't even know, dude. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who the quarterback of the Saints is right now.
Like, I'm sure Drew Brees' phone's ringing this year, and he's like, "No, I'm good, dog. I'm announcing this year." But I don't know. I see.
Hold on, let's look. I'm curious.
Yeah, because they're low right now. They're not they should not be as good standing. They should not have any chance to be in the playoffs, let alone chance to take it in on the home stretch here.
Their quarterback is Taysom Hill.
Isn't he injured, or is he back in?
Oh, let's look.
Read off there. Do you have the depth chart up? Who's the read off the backs that they have? Because I'll tell you whose name I heard last week.
They have Jameis Winston.
Okay, he's injured.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's been getting injured.
Neither of them are on the injured list, actually.
Okay, they might.
No, Jameis is. Jameis is on the injured list.
Yeah.
Taysom is not.
Because Jameis won the job, I thought.
And Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
No, Trevor Siemian.
Okay. Yeah, so
Trevor Siemian is their third. And then Blake Bortles is their practice squad QB.
Okay. Which they need active because they've had so many injuries at quarterback this year. But shout out to Jordan Cruz for your Saints might do it, buddy. I think the Saints take it. I don't think San Fran drops to LA. So I think that I think the Saints don't make it, but E for effort on that one. I don't know who do you think Ryan Matthews? Ryan Matthews, what year is it? Ryan Matthews. Do you think Matt Ryan? Do you think he can eke something? You know who I love, and we're not going to spend a lot of time right now. I love Kyle Pitts, the tight end that they drafted this year. Holy moly, dude! That kid is amazing. Like we'll get onto my tight end kick that I've been having this year, but dude, that kid is nuts.
That kid can play.
Absolutely. Like I thought Atlanta would do a lot better, but they have, just watching their games, they have so many holes right now. They're just not, like, all they have right now is Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts. And I don't know, like, where do you stand on that fence? Matt Ryan, does he still have it to you, or do you think his time's done?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. Matt Ryan never had it to me.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Right man, right place, right time.
See, I don't know, man. Like, I look at him like I look at Stafford. I think they're the same guy. Stafford, Matt Ryan, Romo, same guy.
Rivers. I put Rivers in that conversation.
Rivers is in that conversation too. Rivers, Kyle Orton, the old.
I would say he's a worse Rivers.
That's fair. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Like, he is a not as good Phillip Rivers. Totally. Jets and Bills.
Bills.
Yeah, Jets are surprisingly good. They just can't finish games. Like, I know it's weird to say.
Really good. The
Bills are really good. So we'll see. Especially after last year, they've come out with every bit of the punch that I was hoping they would. I kind of like the Bills too, but so I take Bills also. Chargers and Raiders, probably game of the week, right? In a lot of boats, unless the Colts lose, and then it doesn't really matter. Chargers Raiders in Las Vegas, Sunday Night Football. They flex the game to make sure everybody's watching. And unless the Jaguars can pull up an upset, one of the most meaningful games playoff picture wise of the week.
So I know you're going to hate me for it.
You're going Raiders.
I'm going Raiders.
You would, Richie Vegas.
And it's not even just because they're the Vegas Raiders. It's a storyline, man. If they can beat the Chargers, keep them from entering the playoffs, and then enter the playoffs themselves with no head coach, it's a cool story, man.
Agree to disagree. Yeah, it is a cool story if they weren't the Raiders. I'll put it at that. That's how I'll leave it. I'm, of course, going Chargers. We'll see. It'll be interesting, though. It'll be interesting to see which Chargers team comes out to play, right? Because which Chargers
team shows up.
Exactly, because with the Raiders, they're kind of like what's a good way to articulate it? They're like consistently
inconsistent.
Yeah, like the buffoonery is always there, and like, it just like the Raiders haven't really beat anybody this year. The Raiders have kind of just like either allowed teams to beat them or to beat themselves. And it'll just come down to, if the Chargers play football like they did against the Steelers or the Giants or the Broncos, then it'll be a shoo-in. Or even against, the Patriots game was really good. They lost that one, but they still played good football. But if they do what they did against the Ravens, against your Texans, and they just sort of, wave at the other team as they run by, yeah, the season's done.
Throw that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because, that happened. So I'm going to take the Chargers. I think they get the playoff spot. So before we sign off, playoff spots then. So with these picks, I'm going to say I think the Colts beat the Jaguars. They get that seed. I think the Chargers beat the Raiders, take that spot. I think the Niners and the Saints stay where they're at. Niners get in, Saints are out. What do you think? How do you see that going?
All right, AFC, I think as much as I want it to happen, I really, really do. I do think the Chargers end up in. As much as I want to see the Raiders squeak in, I think it's going to be the Chargers making in. And honestly, I think the Steelers are going to squeak in. Big Ben go off on a swan song. Somehow the Jaguars beat the Colts. Steelers beat the Ravens. They sneak in.
We'll talk about it. You want your storyline right there, right?
I do. Yeah.
That's better than any storyline that involves the Raiders, in my opinion. But any storyline.
Chargers squeak in the AFC, and I think NFC Niners pretty much are a sink. There's not too much has to happen for the Saints to make it in.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I'm picking the Saints, but I could see Matt Ryan sort of, because Matt Ryan, I don't know if this is a contract year for him, but this has been a disappointing year where everybody was talking about him having a disappointing year. So I think, I don't know, maybe a statement for Matt Ryan, even though you hate him and you think he's the worst quarterback of all time.
I don't hate him. Don't put words in my mouth. I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. I'll say.
I think that's fair. I think he got a lot more credit than was probably deserved in the Julio Jones years.
You don't blow a 27-3 lead and be considered an elite quarterback.
And on that note, because that was painful. That was painful.
I will die on that hill.
As everybody else will too. I'm pretty sure. I think I think he did die on that hill, possibly. At least his hopes of winning another Super Bowl winning a Super Bowl. But you guys, that's been it for the At Real Gabe Anders show this week. Richie, we're about out the door. Any last thoughts? Anything you wanted to pitch in before we get on out of here?
Matt Ryan sucks.
See, I told you thought he was the worst of all time.
Matt Ryan sucks. Bengals are winning the Super Bowl. Tom Brady retires at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah. Like, hold on. Let's stop this music real quick. That's right. Way too early Super Bowl picks that I completely left off as we're going out. You're thinking Bengals take it?
That's my wild card. That's what I would like to see happen. I would like to see Bengals Rams in the Super Bowl.
Okay. So I would love to see Chargers 49ers rematch of the 94 season. I mean, it's the Niners 75th year. They're wearing the same shield. The NBA has the same diamond shield for their 75th anniversary. It'd only be appropriate. Ain't going to happen. I don't think the Chargers are going. But I wouldn't hate a Bengals Niners Super Bowl, the third time they would meet up in the Super Bowl, harkening back to the old Boomer Esiason and Joe Montana days. But I want to say that of everybody in there, if I were to pick a wild card, I'm thinking obviously, right, like Buccaneers, Chiefs, and Rams are sort of or Packers are sort of go-tos for winning this year. My wild card, Niners, man. If they come out swinging with all of their tools that they have, they're down to like their fifth string running back, and he's doing great.
My wild card is Bengals, but if I'm my realistic pick, I think the Rams take one home.
Yeah, I think they're cooling down. I think it's either Tampa or Green Bay's year, most likely. I don't think, even if the Chiefs make it a third year, which is ridiculous if they do, I could see the Bills making it against the either the Rams or the Packers, which will be interesting matchups. But yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. Well, next week we will have owner of the AWF, my good friend, personal friend, Jared, will be coming on air with us. Of course, you can follow the show at Real Gabe Anders. At some point, we're going to get a Richie Vegas Twitter, right?
Yes, that's coming.
Ah, yeah. You know it. So, yeah, and then we're going to go through. You can follow us on YouTube, of course, and let us know what you think. Tweet us, send us messages, slide into Richie Vegas's DMs. Any way you can get a hold of us, let us know what you think, even if you hate it. Hate tweet at Richie Vegas. Well, that's not your handle yet, but we'll figure it out, and I'll forward them to him. I'll read them to him on air if you hate tweet us. But yeah, next week, Richie will be doing some hockey stuff. We may actually have some basketball talk. What we're thinking. I got League Pass today, so I'm watching some Clippers basketball, watching the finals. So Richie will school me on some sports that aren't football and baseball. We'll have more baseball talk. And yeah, should have the full AWF Fan Nation Choice Award results by then. Other than that, Richie, I think that's a wrap for today, my friend.
Good being on here, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, glad you can make it on. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you listening to the @Real Gabe Anders show. And Richie, just like we used to do on the old wrestling show, why don't you go ahead and send the people home happy?
Stay safe. See y'all next week. Have a good one.